Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm gonna do my recap of 2020 reading goals and then my new goals for 2021. So of course 2020 didn't go like anybody imagined at all, and a lot of my goals are ones I have every year, so they'll cross over, and so those ones I did fine because they're ones I do all the time, but any my kind of extra ones, yeah, I didn't do very good on those. So I'm hoping to get up a few videos after this one that will talk about more specific things that I want to do, certain ways I'm going to do things for my goals, but I thought I would just do my recap and then put out my new goals. So okay, we'll just start with 2020. So 2020 I had 8 goals, which is what I'm going to try to stick to the same in 2021. And a couple of them will be the same. So first of all, I always set my Goodreads goal for 52 books. This has nothing to do with how fast I read or how much I expect to read. It's just I want to read about a book a week. And to me, that gives me the flexibility to read short books and long books combined, so that, because a lot of times a long book will take you longer than a week, at least it will for me. So it's good to have that flexibility, and also I don't want any stress to deal with my reading, and I never have. So I've always set it at like 50, 52. I've been putting it at 52 because I pretty much hit it especially since joining BookTube. My reading, of course, has increased a little bit, so I always put it at 52 just to be a book a week, and that is all I ask. Because, you know, because again, some weeks I read 3 books, some books I don't finish anything. So, then my second goal is always 50 pages per day on average. So I track my reading. I have a lot of spreadsheets that I like to do, and I've been tracking my reading since I think 2007 or 8. And so, and I put down how many pages I read per day. For me, I like seeing the numbers to see how many days I missed that. You know, there's usually reasons why I don't read in a day, but I like to see, you know, what was going on to go, hey, I read a lot of books, a lot of pages this week, and not that one. And again, with my monthly stats, I like to see my average. So 50 pages per day is a good average for me when I'm working. I mean, again, weekends I usually get a lot more, which is when my average can go up. But sometimes during the week, it's really hard just to get 50 pages for me. So I like to keep it at that, even though, again, my happy place is above 100 pages per day, but I'm not one to read more, like a huge amount more than that. I just don't read that. I wish I could read faster, but I don't. So that's kind of where that's at. So it's always at 50 pages per day on average for the year. And again, I track it by month. So number 3 is I cull my books every June and December. So this year I did do a slight cull in June, but because all the used bookstores weren't accepting books, they're still not, unless you do it something online. I'm not doing it right now. I'm gonna wait. They're all packed in my guest bedroom in stacks. So I've already done my cull for from June, and then December I've done half of it. I'm going to go through I have some old books that I've had for a long time that I'm trying to decide if I want to get rid of them or I want to try chapters to go through them. But I'm halfway through my cull. So I've already taken out everything that I knew that I wanted to get rid of, or, you know, and either I'm not going to read anymore, or I got another edition, or I'm never going to read it. So I've already taken those out. So I'm just hoping to do a little bit in my fantasy, urban fantasy, paranormal romance section that I have like 30 books that at the beginning of series that I haven't tried yet. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. But I really have culled other than that and moved things around. So I did do that. And then goal number 4 is to limit my library use. Now again, this kind of worked on accident, and I'll know more in my stats video how well I actually did, because it's kind of hard to tell, because there was that period where we didn't have library books. We weren't able to get them. I got a lot out right before lockdown in March, and I just happened to have a lot of books that I asked for. So I had a whole bunch that I had, and I only read half of the ones I got that I had during that period, but I've been getting library books steadily since they reopened, and I've been able to put books on hold. So I am still not doing as well in this as I was hoping. I was hoping to only have 5 books on my hold list at one time. this did not happen. I would say I was up to 10 many times. And again, some of the books were like months out because of what number in line I was, and also, or they weren't released yet or something. So, so right now, like even right now, I think I have 5, but that's just because I picked up a couple books the other day. So yeah, so I'm not doing so well with this one. So we're gonna work on this one. Then number 5 is to read from my shelves. And again, my project was the oldest books on my TBR. So I did do that. I will probably do a kind of a recap on that. Didn't go as well as I was hoping. But I did read some, or I got rid of, or I culled some of them. So it was partially, the oldest books on my TBR was kind of done. Not quite. I still have 4 that I haven't, 5. Sorry, there's 5 of the 12. That I haven't attempted again. Like one of them I did a try chapter, so I definitely want to read that one, but I put it back on my shelf. And then the other 4 are more classics that I want to get to, just haven't yet. So, well, no, I guess 3 of those were classics and 1 was a mystery. Anyway, point is, they're still on my TBR. So, I didn't do so hot on that one. But again, I blame 2020, because if I had been had a more normal year, I probably would have got to them better, but after March, all that kind of fell away. Anyway, so, but the read more from my shelves kind of worked. So I didn't have as many library books because it was shut down for a while. Again, I'll know more in my stats video exactly what my percentage of owned books, but I did still buy a lot of books this year, a lot more than I planned, which another goal I'll tell you in a minute. So I don't think I did this goal very well. So it's definitely something I want to reattempt. We'll see what happens. Number 6 was I'd had a 5-star predictions video I put out last December. I thought I was ready to do a recap on that. Found out I forgot a book. I only had 6 books on there, and I'd completely forgot one of the books I had on there. So I rewatched the video last week and discovered I'd messed up. So I'm trying to read that book now. I don't know, it's a big book, so I'm not sure I'm going to make it to the end of the year or not. We'll see. So I'm probably going to do another 5-star prediction after I finish that book, and then I can do my recap. So I was hoping to do those within 6 months, but again, as I said, things kind of got derailed after March. So that's because I expected to read 1 book a month, and I think I read a couple of them, or attempted a couple of them into March, and then I didn't touch that project until just November. So I had 3 books left in November, and I got to 2 of them, or made decisions on 2 of them, and then one of them I'm in the third one I'm in the middle of right now. So anyway, so I'm still working on that one, so that was kind of a fail, because I was supposed to do it in 6 months. It didn't happen. And then number 8, is that right? No, number 7 is my series. So I was hoping this in 2020 is to make some progress on my series and to start getting some down of, again, I have a lot of, as I said, I have like 30 books of the first book in series that are just urban fantasy, mild fantasy, not like epic fantasy, but like other fantasies, and then paranormal romance. And I was hoping to start going through those and get rid of some that I'm just not interested in anymore. But I want to try them all. So I was going to do try chapters. Well, I did 1, I think. Maybe I think I just did 1 this year. And so that was not successful. That's definitely something I need to work on. But I really didn't pay attention to many of my series. Now, I continued series that are like the ones that are publishing right now, that are like ones I'm immediately into. Like, again, any Nalini Singh, I read those right away. I did read a Tad Williams because I was behind on that one, so now I'm caught up on that. And then there's a couple others that I tried to catch up on, but I didn't. So I really failed at my series. And I will have a video up later this week that talks about how epically I failed on this, and what I think I'm going to do in the next year. So I'll get to that in a minute, but I failed. Anyway, so again, it happens. This year was not the way, it didn't go the way I wanted it to. And then my 8th goal from 2020 was to only spend $800 on books. Well, I epically failed this one, so I'm not going to tell you what that number is in this video when I get to my stats, because again, that'll be after the first of the year, and I'll be able to go be honest about that. But I bought a lot of books. Now, I think it was just a reaction to not being able to go places and do things, and I think a lot of retail therapy done online. So I have goals for how I'm going to deal with that in the next year, but right now let's just say I failed. I did really good in January because I had gift money and cards from Christmas that I got to spend at Pals, which was awesome. So I didn't have to count that money because that was my Christmas money. But after that, it just pretty much goes downhill after that. I didn't do very well. And I would say November and December were actually the worst 2 months of the year for me on spending, which is unusual. Usually my biggest month is May for my birthday, even though some of that is birthday money, but most of it is just me buying stuff for myself. So it was really kind of weird. But I bought a lot on my vacation. Anyway, point is, let's just say epic fail. Okay, so that is the recap. Wow, I took a long time to do that. So let's just talk about my 2021 goals. So again, a lot of these are the same. I've decided to keep the main ones that I always do every year, and then I've just tweaked a little bit at the end. So number one is I'm going to put 52 books on my Goodreads. That's what I want to read per year. This year is especially, I want to do that because of some of my plans. So I want to make sure, I just feel like one book a week is fine. And I have no issue. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that. If not, I don't care. It's a very loose number. I just put 52, one book a week. That's kind of how it is. Number two is I'm going to keep my 50 pages per day on average. That's what I want to do. Yes, I'm reading more now, that I'm probably closer to the 75 to 125. It just fluctuates on the month. But I don't want that pressure. So by making it 50, I'm still saying I want to read at least 50 pages a day on average every day. And that to me works, because there's only a few days a week or a few days a month sometimes that I miss reading. I don't do it for reasons, I don't know, something just comes up or I just don't feel like it. But most days I read more than that. But to me, it's just a good base. I've had that base probably for like 15 years. Probably about 15 years that was my number. I always say that I want to do 50 pages on average. So that's kind of how, so I'm just going to keep that one. I'm going to keep my goal of culling at least twice a year, June and December. I think this really works out for me. A 6-month gap gives me time to think about some books. Like I got rid of some books that have been on my shelf for a really long time that I didn't, am I ever going to continue that series? Am I ever going to finish that? Well, I got rid of them. I just decided I'm never going back. And if I had to, I'd have to read the whole thing again, and I didn't care for it enough to do that. So there are some series that I've discontinued because of the cull. So they're really important to me. I can't do it more than that. I think that because I read so many different kind of things in different genres, that to do it shorter than 6 months, I don't have the time to think about, am I done with that series? Am I done with that book? Am I, 6 months is about perfect for me. So I'm going to keep that goal. Number 4 is, again, limit the library use. I really am going to try to strive to not have more than 5 books out from the library at any time. Mostly I would like to be down to 2 or 3, but I'm just going to give myself that just in case everything comes in at once. And I am going to try again to strive for only having 5 books on the hold list. So again, it's only 5 books could show up at one time. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try not to ask for things just because willy-nilly, like as in I just thought of it or I just saw someone talk about it. I need to make lists a little better about books that I'm interested in, and I don't need to get right this minute because I have plenty of books. So anyway, I'm going to, as I said, limit my library use, but I'm still going to use my library. I love my library. So I definitely still want to use it. So number 5 is to read more series books. So again, I'll do a video recapping what happened with my 2020 epic fail and what I plan to do in this. But I really want to focus this year on making decisions about certain series that I haven't made decisions on, continuing series that I've started and haven't moved forward in, try to finish a few series that are done that I just have not continued or have not finished, which is ridiculous, but it happens. And then again, I have so many I want to start. And I want to make decisions on which ones I want to focus on. So, as I said, I have a few that I know I want to do, but again, I'll have a whole video on that one here in a couple days. And then I want to, so number 6 is I want to read more bigger books this year. So I just did a whole series on the biggest books on my TBR, and it was very eye-opening. I knew I had a lot of big books, but I did not realize the number of books I had that were 700 plus pages, to 800, 900, and over 1,000, and quite a few of them. And it's not that I expect to read, like, I don't want to say I'm going to read some of those epic ones, like the ones that are over 1,000, like all those in this year. I'm just saying I want to be able to, I want to make sure I'm picking up at least some of them during the year, and not just picking up the shorter books. Now I don't tend to pick up short books all the time. I do sometimes. My reading is very varied, but I want to make sure I'm also acknowledging that I have a lot of books that are in that are, you know, I have over, I think I figured, what did I say, over, I think it's over 50, maybe 60 books that are 700 plus pages on my TBR. So I have a lot to choose from. I'm not going to read all those, of course, as it says. So, but I want to make sure that I pick up more of those than I have been. This last year, of course, 2020, I'm not going to really count. I only picked up a few books, I would say, that were really long. Really want to pick up quite a few, and I'll probably have a video also, not on the biggest books that I want to pick up, but more of like a few of the classics that I'd like to get in that are that some of them might be really big. We will see. And then number 7 is I do want to do the 5-star prediction again. As I said, I'm in the middle of the last book of that series. So once I finish that one, then I will recap and then put out a new list. And then I will probably not tell myself it has to be 6 months. I'll probably say it's for the year. And then if I get done early, then I get to restart early. But I really do want to look at books that are series, that things that I want to start or read that are what I think are going to be 5 stars. And I just want to, I want to do this. So again, it's just a fun project thing. So I want to keep doing that. And then we come to number 8, which again is about book buying. So I have not come up with a solid plan on this. I've been watching everybody else's goals videos to see how they talk about book buying. And I'm going to kind of steal this term from Tia at All the Books. She was like, she wants to read her own dang books, and I am totally there. I have a huge library that I've accumulated over decades, but the last couple years on BookTube has pretty much doubled my collection. So I have plenty of books. I don't need to buy any books right now. Now, again, I have a few books pre-ordered already into the next year, and then there's a couple new releases that I'm going to read those this year. But I would say I've limited my pre-orders down to books of authors that I've read before, or they're continuations in series that I'm going to read. So I've already stopped myself from just pre-ordering every new book that I want to get. And I know that that's hard on authors, that, you know, there are numbers to have people buy the first book, so it's better. But I am at a point now where I have so many first books in series that I just need to stop for a while. So I have those on like wish lists and things. So at some point, maybe when I finish a couple series, I can buy more first books in series. But right now, I really have enough. So I don't want to give myself a number of I can only spend this much money on books, because that does not work for me. Nor does telling myself I cannot buy books. So right now I have a little bit of money that I just got for Christmas that I'm setting aside for books. And my goal is to buy more locally. So I have a couple of used bookstores. Again, I'm very lucky. I have Pal's bookstore really close by. And also another small bookstore, Jan's Books Paperbacks, that is just like down the road from that one. So those two I go to the most. So I'm going to try to focus on buying books there more than online at this point. Although I'll have my wish list will probably be out of control just to keep track of stuff I want. But I don't need to physically bring more books into my library right now, into my personal library. So my goal into this next year is to be very conscious of what books I am buying. And again, I have been making lists for, I think, well, the last 2 years, no, so it'd be 3 years. I have how many books I've bought in a year. And I buy typically twice as many as I read. And not all those I read are from my personal library. They're from the public library. So the numbers are not jiving. I'm bringing in way more than I read in a year. So my goal this year, as I said, I want to, again, it's not that I don't want to buy books and I'm not going to let myself, like I'm going to let myself have at least one time a month I get to go to Powell's or Jan's Paperbacks and buy some books. And, you know, I'll have the money set aside for that. But I don't want to be having packages of books coming in all the time. As much as I love book mail, don't get me wrong, I do. But I need to curb, at least this year. Again, this is the first year. Again, I just got a new car. It's the first time I've had a car payment in 15 years. So the point is that I'm still getting used to money-wise how that affects me. And I just, even though I don't have anything to spend my extra money on right now, I think I should be saving it since I just put out a lot of money for my down payment on my car. Anyway, so it's all about saving as also as reading what I own. And I have so many books I want to read. I look at my shelves and I just get so excited, but I'm in the middle of a book or two, you know, and I'm like, oh, I can't pick that up, but I want to pick that up. But then I buy books. So, okay, so that's kind of, so this is not a, as I said, it's not a hard, fast rule, but my point is I want to read my books, but I also want to calm down my book buying online. And I think by doing that, again, I might still go to Powell's and buy like 4 or 5 books at a go, but if I only go once a month, that's only 4 or 5 books. That's not, you know, the 20 or so or over that I've bought in the last couple months. So I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions, I am all for it. But right now I'm trying to, that's my goal, is to at least spend less this year than I have the last year, 2 years. This year is just, this was insane. And I bought way much. And I know where, you know, why I did that, but it's still like, I didn't need to do that. And I just need to calm it down. So anyway, that is it. That are my goals. So those are my recap of 2020 and my goals for 2021. So, as I said, I'm going to have a few videos up this next week. I'm going to have one about my series, about how that went for the year, and then what I think I'm going to do in the next year. I have, I might do, you know, some classics that I want, like the top 5 or 6 that I want to do in this next year. I'm not sure what the number is. I don't know. Well, it'll come up. And then I'll probably have my January TBR, and I'm going to show off a new little way I'm going to do my tracking my reading, and how I'm going to accomplish a couple of other little like minor goals that I didn't put in this major goal video because it's not quite the same, but it's just kind of a checklist. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, I love all your guys' reading goals videos. I'm enjoying those so much, so keep putting them out. Those who haven't done it, please do it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.